Good morning, everyone, and I'm Esa-Pekka Salonen. I'm a conductor and composer, and I used to work in LA for 17 years. Now I'm back in Europe. And what we're doing this week, we are looking into the sort of collaboration between composers and musicians and conductors and so on and so forth, and try to figure out what works and what doesn't. And it should be interesting. And I'm really looking forward to working with you this week. And good luck. And where's Bryen? Here he is. Welcome.
Language, because I've been in this business for decades, and I've conducted masterpieces, and I've conducted utter crap, and everything in between. So I basically know what I'm talking about. Having said that, I'm learning every day, which is the cool part of it, because you realize, okay, I didn't know that, now I do, and I think we should just be humble as long as we can, and curious, and accept the fact that we don't know everything, and every day is a new adventure. There are also opportunities that didn't exist before. There's the whole internet thing, the new media, the unprecedented ways of distributing music and everything being available, and all that. So I think that may compensate the other problems. We just have to we have to have faith in this. We have to support each other and just refuse to compromise on what is important. And keep composing. It's important. If you don't know something, don't pretend. Go to someone who does. And I do this all the time. Because one of the few nice things about getting older is that you kind of know yourself and you have less to prove. So you're kind of more honest to yourself about what you don't know. So if you learn one thing, it's this, that I really don't know everything. And if I don't know something, I go to some musician who can show me how a passage works on a bassoon, for instance. I can't remember all the trills, what works and what doesn't. So singers, so on and so forth.
And I wish the measure 22 when the piccolo is playing solo. I hope the harp can be a little softer and the tubular bells can be a little softer too. So the piccolo will be the main focus. And yeah, in brass, between major 40 to 41, just keep the momentum crescendo, and then without breathe, and just a revel point.
When I was young, it was kind of bewildering because I had great teachers, but then there were some questions that I so wanted to ask, but they just felt so stupid and primitive to me, myself, that I never dared to ask them, and then I learned them the hard way, like in front of some damn orchestra somewhere, and either as a composer or as a conductor. I thought once I got through that with some scars and bloody nose, I thought that, I will, in the future, I will offer the opportunity to young people to ask those questions, because there's nothing writing on it. It's just like, and no question is stupid enough, believe me.
I have one.
Sure.
Regarding balance, I think it's for me, it's one of the main issues to how to find the balance in the different,
between the different groups and sections.
Groups. So I've come across two different opinions regarding. Should I write like should I be aware of the different intensities of the instrument and then write according to that, or should I write what I want?
That's a very good point. No, I think that in terms of dynamics, you shouldn't try to sort of kind of second guess the way, say, a trombone player looks at piano, because we don't know. A trombone player in Taiwan might see piano very differently from the Chicago Symphony trombonist. And so I think that one should write the same to everyone. And then it's up to the musician's common sense and the conductor to balance it. But if you try to guess, okay, the second flute is kind of low, so I write mezzo forte for the second flute, and then I write mezzo piano for the second horn, because it's a slightly louder instrument, and this and that, then you end up with a mess. Because the conductor then doesn't know what we're supposed to hear. So just trust, don't try to over-notate, and trust your colleagues, the performers, that they're not totally nuts. Well, I can't guarantee that, but I have lots of colleagues on this side who are totally nuts. But people are basically, we're all musicians in some way, and and there's some kind of common sense idea of what is what. So one shouldn't try to spoon feed things, and then that usually fails anyway. And the same goes for articulation, which one should optimize. And of course, the real plague of 20th century music, and still today, is that composers over-notate. My best, is there a blackboard here?
Oh.
No, anyway, I'll give you an example. Just give me a piece of paper. There you go. You'll like this opus, right? Didn't want to destroy it. All right, so, and this is not a fairy tale. I saw this in a score I was asked to conduct by a very famous composer. And I shall not mention his name, except that it's Bryen Warfield. Okay, so here we go. And what makes it truly funny is that the instrument is harpsichord. You know, for me, I have to say that the miracle of music is all those notes somehow fitting together perfectly and in a way that it sounds right, as opposed to it doesn't matter. And you know, this miracle I get when I listen to the finale of the Marriage of Figaro, or the last movement of the Jupiter Symphony, or Beethoven 7, or Bruckner 7, Daphnis and Chloe, The Rite of Spring. You know, that there's some Rehearsal, you know, that some magic that all these millions of notes make sense. And what I don't like is millions of notes that don't make sense. What makes me mad is that there's a lot of really difficult stuff that nobody can hear in a symphony orchestra thing. And people sweat bullets, and then you come to the tutti rehearsal, and then it's only visual. And this was one of those things. I mean, it's not that this is difficult, but it's just makes no difference. Then if you work with a string quartet like the Arditis, so that's a different animal, because they can spend all the time on things like this, and maybe, just maybe, there might be some kind of a different expression if you have 2 Fs instead of 3 in a sforzato piano like this. I don't know. I don't think like that, because I actually like the idea of not controlling everything as a composer. I like the idea of giving the musicians a fairly precise framework within which to work, but for me the best moments are when the performer actually adds something to what I wrote. There's some kind of layer of expression that I wasn't even aware of. And when things start to mature, like the video of the Violin Concerto you saw yesterday, this was kind of early on, and now she plays it. I mean, she played it incredibly well already in Paris, but now it's on a different level from what you heard, in terms of depth and the sort of flexibility of phrasing and all that. And that has absolutely nothing to do with how accurately I notated some articulations. It has to do with the kind of an organic musical process. And we lost a bit of that with the sort of European modernist and East Coast US modernist idea of trying to kind of spell everything out. And I guess the idea was that we would make these bulletproof, like idiot-proof. You know, Richard Strauss used to use these words. I didn't make them up. So he wrote to his father that I want to write these symphonic poems in such a way that no conductor can destroy them. And they are pretty good in that way, apart from the Eulenspiegel, which you can destroy. But Zarathustra, for instance, you put an orangutan in front of the orchestra, and it sounds pretty cool, you know. Anyway, so I would say I would use. I mean, what we need here is common sense. Do what you must, but not more than that. And trust. If the phrase makes musical sense, then they get it. If it doesn't, that kind of gunk doesn't help you.
Yeah, okay, just a few things. I thought that was pretty good, actually. I'll work from the end back. Violins, the violin 1-1, your last kind of 4 measures, I think that can start a little bit more. Yeah, other than that, I thought the decrescendo was good. The sound a little bit more in the beginning, yes. Trumpets, measure 48. You have that kind of rising figure. Try not to punch each one equally. Try to make it a very noticeable growth from the beginning to end of that measure. For everybody who's involved in that kind of aleatoric bit from 43 to 46, make sure that between 46 and 47, especially in the winds, that there's no breath in there and that you just run straight to the downbeat of measure 47 to really keep that going. Yeah, and maybe just from the winds, a hair more sound towards the end. That you've gotten it down nicely, but to bring it up a little more at the end.
I think in conducting, every gesture you do should have its physical or expressive response in the orchestra, but there shouldn't be any gestures that wouldn't have that. I mean, even in your mind.
Okay.
Yeah, all right. Bravo, both of you. Well done. Yeah.
Molto più mossas for the second time. Guys, thank you for these days. I really enjoyed working with you. I hope that I'll see many of you later in life in various orchestras around the world. Okay, thank you very much.
As I said yesterday, it really gives me a lot of pleasure to connect with the new generation and to see what you're thinking and what your approach is, and also to see what variety of approaches there are and how supportive you are of each other's work. I mean, this, drinking beer last night with you guys, I thought that this is really great because it's not always like that, and I think that that's an important thing to remember, that we should try to see musical life and cultural life as a whole, and